Your leg. Okay, today is yoga for stress. So we're gonna stay on the mat. We're not gonna get up on our.
I forgot to do was standing.
Not gonna get up on our feet. We might do a little balancing, not a lot, just on the mat.
Today's a PJ day. And I feel supposed
If you have a block, grab a block or something that you can squeeze and hold, something that's not too heavy. We're going to do some arm and shoulder work with it. So yoga for stress is really about finding places that we commonly hold a lot of tension, trying to find ways to release that tension, and then finding a long meditation at the end. Mm-hmm. So all right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Get down on your back. We're going to start on our back and just start to land on your back. Bring your knees in. Kind of feel your lower back. Take some wiggles. Maybe give your knees a squeeze in. Curl up in a little ball. See how your back feels. Have an experience with your back. And then maybe letting the feet down with the knees up and taking some wiggles with the legs. Starting to feel the legs and the hips. Land the bottom half still. Land the shoulders on the ground and then take a little side to side with the neck. Nice and slow. Just kind of feeling the tension in your neck. Feeling all of the body, noticing where you're at, and then landing still. So just starting to build up a little space. So imagining your mat is a sacred space, like building up little walls of protection around your mat. Everything outside of your mat is outside of your mat. Starting to just be you on the mat in this moment in time. Notifications are on my laptop. Sorry about that. Beginning to let your breath lengthen in your torso.
I was like, that's definitely not my phone noise. She can't be mad at me for that.
And then we're going to practice 4 corners breath. So practice bringing our breath into certain parts of our lungs, really focusing on filling up certain parts of our lungs and getting to know our lungs. So we begin with the lower corners of our lungs, the bottom of our lungs. Begin to bring your breath into the bottom of your lungs. Nice and slow and gentle. Try not to just force your breath with your muscles. Just intention. Really focus here. Fill up the bottom of your lungs and then slowly release the air. Really connecting with the lower parts of your lungs. Maybe even connecting with watching your stomach rise and fall as you fill up the bottom of your lungs. And then bring your awareness to the rib cage, the sides of your ribs. And bring long, slow breath into the sides of your lungs, really filling up the sides of your lungs. Imagine gently pushing your breath between each rib. Watching your rib cage expand with each breath. And then bring your awareness to the back of your lungs. And imagine watching your breath fill up the back and the lungs. Maybe even imagining your breath just lifting you gently up off the ground. Long, slow breath, focusing on really filling up the back of your lungs. And then finally, bring your awareness just underneath your collarbones and fill up the top corners of your lungs, really focusing on watching your collarbones rise and fall as you fill up the top of your lungs, nice and slow and gentle. And then let that go and just find your center. Greeting yourself where you're at, noticing how you feel mentally, noticing how you feel emotionally, and noticing how you feel physically. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. Take your feet in little slow circles. Spread the toes wide. Start to feel the muscles of the feet. Reverse your circles. And take the feet up towards the ceiling. Spread the toes really wide. Press the hips down into the ground. Don't worry about how straight your legs are. Just get your feet above your heart. Let your shoulders remain soft on the ground. Spread the toes wide. And then point the toes and pull them back towards the shins. Point and back. Really looking at the feet and connecting with the muscles in the feet. And then press the balls of the feet to the ceiling, pull the toes back. Start to make the whole leg active. And we're going to press one foot up while we bend the other, and then press and bend the other one. So we're going to make little bicycle pedals, but nice and slow, starting to feel the muscles in the legs. Trying to locate all the muscles in the legs, and then begin to take your bicycle slowly towards the wall, keeping your hips pressed firmly onto the ground. Try to engage the core. If the back starts to do all the work here, bring your feet a little bit more up to the ceiling. Try to keep your stomach in control and your hips grounded. And then bring the left foot down, knee up, keeping the right knee up. We're going to bring this right knee in towards the chest and then press the foot away. So bring it in and press away. Really slow and controlled, finding the muscles in the leg. There's something up with our live video. It's going a little creaky. It's funny. If you're having trouble seeing us on Facebook, Move on over to YouTube Live. I think it's better over there. I don't know what's going on with our Facebook.
It might just be our
I think it's the
internet.
internet. So then bring your knee right above the hip. Hold and hover the foot up even with the knee. Press the hip down. Without compensating with arms and the back, bring the knee out to the side and in. Out and in, nice and slow. So keeping those hips nice and grounded. Starting to just find all the muscles in the leg. Bring the knee out to the right, hold it here, and then we're going to bring it up a little and push that foot away. Draw it up, push the foot away. Notice how you use slightly different muscles here than you did when it's right above the hip. Nice and slow, finding your breath. Inhale as you draw up, exhale as you push the foot away. Inhale, draw up. Exhale, push. And then plant the right foot down, knee up, lift the left. Lift and hover, ground the hips. Try not to compensate with the back or the arms and shoulders. We're going to pull the knee in and push the foot away, nice and slow. Draw the knee in, push the foot away, activate the leg. Find as many muscles as you can in the leg. Moving and breathing, watching this right foot. Sometimes we grab and grip with the right foot, so trying just to focus on the left leg. Bring the knee over the hip, foot even with the knee, and then take the knee out to the right, the left, and then in. Open to the left, and then draw it in, nice and slow with control. Watching the back, so really pressing the hips down with the stomach to keep the hips grounded. You don't need to move the knee very far to find the muscle group to build some strength here. And then bring it out to the left. Inhale to draw up. Exhale to press it away. Inhale, draw up. Exhale, press. Nice and slow with control. And then bring the left foot down. Bring the feet together. So the feet are touching. Bring the knees together. And then we're going to squeeze the knees open nice and slow. And then squeeze them back together. Nice and slow as you can go. Inhale as you squeeze. Exhale as you press them back together. Trying to find all the muscles in the legs, maybe even trying to activate the glutes a little. Squeeze, use the inner thigh to squeeze open, use the outer legs and glutes to squeeze closed. And then squeeze the knees together. And wiggle the feet apart. So squeeze the knees tight, wiggle the feet a little wider than the hips, squeeze and hold. Press the hips down into the ground. And then take the head side to side. So take a little shuffle with the head, squeezing your base. So keeping your base really firm and pressed down. Feet are pressing into the ground, knees are really squeezing in together. Hips are pressed into the ground. And then let your head just kind of roll. See if you can take some of the tension out of the neck. Loosen and soften the neck and the head. And then let that go. Let your shoulders soften a little more. Notice where the points of tension are in your body. Bring the feet about hip width apart, knees up. Take the right foot up. Cross over like you're going to cross the right foot over the left knee, but hold and hover it. So hold and hover it rather than tucking it onto the knee. And then we're going to hold it here. Base is nice and strong, so hips pushing down into the ground. We're going to pull the foot towards us and then pull it back. So lift and pull. Small movement, finding inner thigh. Maybe even activating outer hip. Squeezing the hips down into the ground. Press, press, press. Hold and hover the knee again. Turn the foot out. So slowly bring the foot all the way over to the right. It's not going to go very far.
I was going to say all the way.
So you're taking it towards the right shoulder, but it's not going to get anywhere near there just because of the way our bones are shaped. So hold it here. So notice what starts to happen. Like maybe you're starting to have a competition with yourself and you really want that right foot to be out to the right a little more. You might have squeezed in the oblique area. You might have squeezed in the low back on the right side. So take a look at that. Maybe set back up again. So push the hips down. Make sure they're even. Make sure nothing is cheating in the back. Push the hips down, then send the foot out right. So now this should be all in the outside of the right leg and hip. Hold it here, pulse the foot back and forth. So a little out and then into center, out and then into center. Trying to do this entirely with the muscles on the leg, not the back. See if you can do it. Check for compensation patterns in the face and the shoulders. They should be soft. Really make this about the leg. Maybe start to make the movement a little bigger, taking it all the way out to the right and then the foot all the way into the left. Nice and slow and with control. And then bring that down. Take a side shuffle with the knees, nice and slow. Notice left and right hips. Maybe they feel a little different. Press the hips down. Bring the right knee up. Bring the right heel like it's coming onto the left. Sorry, bring the left knee up. Bring the left heel above the right knee as if you're placing it down for that figure four, but holding and hovering it. Set up. Press the hips down into the ground. Bring that foot into center and then back. Little pulses up and down. Notice if one side is easier than the other. Also notice if bringing your foot in and really strengthening this angle is easier than strengthening going to the outside. Look for compensation patterns. And then bring that foot, knee, even with the hip, foot goes all the way over to the left without compensation patterns. So you're just looking to pull it left, not activate the left oblique area, the left up underneath the back. Really soft there. Focus on the leg. Pull the heel out to the left and then into center. out to the left, into center. Nice and slow. Should be burning right in the inner part of the left hip.
I'm trying not to compensate. I have to like stop every 5 of them and shake out my
Your low back
my
is doing
lower
all
back
the
and
work.
my glutes. Really trying not to compensate.
And then bring it down and take the knees shuffling side to side to the left and right. Letting the hips go, letting the lower back soften. Bring the soles of the feet together, hips pressed down onto the ground. Just let the knees fall out and just notice what's going on in this space. Notice any pulling, any tightness maybe in the lower back. Maybe this brings a severe curve to the lower back. So just noticing, maybe pressing your hips down a little more and letting your knees come up a little more. Just kind of noticing where your body is at, where your tension is held. And then bring the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little hug.
Just stay here and do meditation.
It's like 22 minutes in. Kaylee's ready for Shavasana already.
Yeah. It's a lot of hip work already.
You keep talking, I'll make you do more.
I keep talking, maybe Shavasana will come.
Roll on over to his side and come on up to a seat. Oh boy. Facebook is really freaking out on us.
How bad is it? Oh.
It's like really going crazy. Come to a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. So if you need to grab a chair, we're going to be here for a while. Grab a chair. If you have a cushion that you like to sit on, grab a cushion. We have cushions in the studio. So we're going to be here for a little bit. Find your block handy. Kaylee's just giving up.
I'm going home.
Kaylee's done. She's giving up. So get nice and tall in your seat. Find your hips. So find your hips nice and even. Try to make them nice and even. Get really tall in the spine. So trying to avoid that thing that our grandparents told us, stand up straight, and we pulled our shoulders backward, just pinch between our shoulders, and we pulled our neck backwards, and we try to straighten up our spine. So try to avoid that. Try to relax, and then imagine we're being pulled from the crown of the head. So rather than forcing any of the curves in our back to be straight, we're trying to just pull the weight off the cervical vertebrae. Lift up, get longer, allow the natural curves in your back. We're going to play with a block. So, bring a block on the palm of the right hand. Hold both arms out. Notice the weight of the block. Notice where you're feeling the weight of the block. So are you only feeling the weight of the block in your arms? Check in on the low back. Notice what happened when you started to bring your arm out and hold the block.
I'm feeling it on my leg. It's very nice.
Hold the block. The longer you distract me, the longer you have to hold the block.
I wasn't holding it, so the longer you have to hold the block.
All right, we're going to bring our arms out and in. So inhale as we open wide. Exhale as we bring the block and the hands back together. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze.
If you don't know block, you can do this with a book. Enjoy.
You can do this with anything. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze in. Just starting to notice what happens. Is your right arm getting tired? Are you starting to compensate? So we're always looking for those compensation patterns. What's going on in your lower back? We're trying to keep this up in the shoulders and arms. So check in on your lower back. Check in on your face. Is your face soft? How's your neck? Inhale as you open. Exhale as you squeeze in. Holding the block, feeling both arms. Now switch sides. Feel the right arm. Notice how it feels a little bit lighter. And then same thing. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Trying not to compensate in the back. What on earth are you doing back there?
Stretching.
Inhale, open.
Not doing
Exhale,
that.
squeeze. Noticing your arms. The blocks are not heavy. This should be easy to do. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. And then bring the block between both hands and give it a squeeze. So now really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Trying to use only the arms and the shoulders. Look for your compensations and patterns in your back. Squeezing the block. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Again, we're just focusing on the arms. We're not doing this in the torso. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. I'm never going to Shavasana if you don't start working, Kaylee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. We are going to do this all day until Kaylee actually does some work.
See, I'm working block, squeeze, lifting.
Lower the block. Bring the arms down and give them shakes. Really loosen and soften. Shake them out. Flick the arms out. Try and get some softness and vibration into the muscles. Really shaking, 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 shaking. And bring your hands to heart center. Close your eyes and find your breath. Notice your shoulders. Notice your arms. Notice your low back. And then bringing your hands down onto your lap, taking soft circles with the torso, nice and soft. Just kind of feeling some fluidity in the spine, moving around, softening, and then reverse your circle. And bring your hands back to prayer, just above your heart. We're going to think about moving the sternum and using the core to make very subtle movements. So move your sternum forward towards your hands and then back, then over to the right and then back, over to the left and then back, forward to the hands, right, left, forward. So just think about all these muscles really close to the spine, right around the navel area. See if you can squeeze those to make this movement. Sternum goes forward, right, left, forward, right, left. Notice if you're using your low back or your mid back to make this movement. Really focus in on the core. forward, right, left, forward, right, left. Squeeze the core. And then bring it down. Make your way to a tabletop position. What are you doing? That's not good. I think that you just turned the sound off.
No, I just turned the sound on your computer off.
I think that's going to turn the sound off.
No, there's two different buttons. You can mute the mic and mute the... I don't know. If you can't hear us,
Go to YouTube. I don't know.
well, if you can't hear us telling you to go YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so make your way to a tabletop position. Feel your hands on the ground. There's so much tavern dust that just came off me. I don't know what to say. Tuck your toes in a tabletop position and just feel your feet. Take your feet side to side. Just find some movement in your feet. Untuck your toes. Press the front of your feet down into the ground. And we're going to inhale forward, exhale towards child's. Inhale, tabletop, exhale, child's. Finding your breath, finding some movement, having an internal experience, feeling your hands, feeling your arms, feeling your feet on the ground. And then land in a child's pose. Press the hands away from you. So really pushing into the arm. And then take the shoulders a little bit over to the right and a little bit over to the left. Just a little soft sway, moving the weight, little tiny bit left to right. Pressing a little more into one hand, pressing a little more into the other. Little soft movement across the shoulders. And then place the forearms down and bring the shoulders up a little closer to the elbows. Maybe adjust your position a little. You're going to engage the forearms. So press the hands down firmly into the ground and then feel like you're trying to pull your elbows apart. Engage. If you would like to be full body engaged, you're going to feel like you're pressing your knees down into the ground and then pulling them apart. That should fire up the legs and the glutes. Try to take the tension out of the neck, activate the shoulders. And we're going to take little tiny movements here. So we're going to bring our nose a little tiny bit forward, nice and engaged, and then a little bit back. Make this movement small and controlled. Activate your shoulders, get strong in your shoulders. And then come forward. Press firmly into both hands. Slowly lift the elbows. And then lower. Slowly lift the elbows, pressing into the arms. And then lower. If you want to pump this up a little bit, you're going to tuck the toes and hover the knees. And then land in a tabletop. You can take the left arm even with the left shoulder. press the hand down firm into the ground, and then let the left shoulder come down towards the ground. So strong with this. You're really active in the arm. Feel the muscles of the shoulder. Take the tension out of the neck. Let the head hang wherever is comfortable. Adjust the weight, lift off the left hand, place it, thread it through, palm up underneath the right hand. Now press the back of the hand into the ground. Really start to feel the arms and shoulders. And wiggle around until you find that point where the stretch feels delicious. What are you
Lots of food metaphors in the classes lately. Delicious, stretched, oranges.
Juicy.
Yeah, juicy.
Bring the right hand, even with the shoulder, press into the palm, and then let the right shoulder come towards the ground. Adjust the weight, lift the right hand, thread it through, palm up, press the back of the hand into the ground, and then shuffle around until you feel that point across the back of the shoulders, into the mid-back even. And then come back to tabletop. Look down at your hands. We're going to pull our hands up like spider hands. So you're going to pull the knuckles back towards the wrist. Pull and lift the knuckles up, actively gripping the ground. Find some strength. You may need to make more room for your wrists by sinking your hips backwards. Pull the hands strong. Activate the fingers. Now lift index fingers on both hands. Bring them down, pull strong, lift middle fingers. Bring them down, lift ring fingers. Bring them down, pinky fingers. And then thumbs.
3 of our candles went out.
I don't know.
Bruce is out. One over here is out.
Bring it back, turn the fingertips towards you. You may need to bring the hands closer towards the knees. Just feeling the back of the wrists, changing your wrist a little bit, changing how you're using your wrists. Maybe starting to take a little weight on and off. So pressing into the hands, lifting up with the upper body, taking a little weight. Strengthening the wrists in a different shape. And then placing the hands down without too much weight in them. Bring your attention to your hands and fingers, and then lift just your thumbs. And then lift just your pointer fingers.
Just take them to the side to lift them.
And then lift your middle fingers. Notice how much harder it is to do it this way. Lift your ring finger. See if you can lift it. You might be able to slide a credit card underneath it.
If I cheat and lean forward, yes.
If you lean forward, you can get it. And then bring your little fingers up. See if you can lift your little fingers. Isolate the muscles in your arms. Find the muscles that lift the fingers. And then bring that down. Turn the fingertips to point towards you, palms up. And just gently stretch the back of the wrist. Tavern dust everywhere.
I have fluffy hair everywhere. It's just falling to me.
Return to a seated position, a comfortable seat. And just take some nice soft circles with the wrist. So as slow as you can go. Feeling the wrist. And then opposite direction. Holding on to the left hand, bring the left hand fingertips point down, and then bring little tilts inside, bringing the fingertips in towards center, finding the muscles in the left hand. Trying to make this movement entirely with the hand. That's why we hold on to the forearm and tell the forearm to stop doing all the work. If I don't do this, my forearm does all the work, and the wrist and the hand muscles are not doing the work. Bring it in, looking at the hand, connecting with the muscles in the hand. Switch sides. Fingertips down, and then fingertips come into center, trying to find the muscles in the hand. Hands to prayer, interlace fingers, pull hands apart, and just take a little side to side with the shoulders, noticing.
What happened to all the unicorns? Did you put them away?
Flip the palms, press the palms away. And then return hands to prayer. So finding your center. Checking in again, finding your base, getting nice and tall, softening the shoulders, softening the face. Finding the breath. Bring the right hand down, about even with the hip. You're going to roll on over to the right hip and stretch the left leg.
Right, left, stretch your leg long.
Top leg long. You're going to stretch long. You're going to reach long, maybe tuck it behind you a little. And then reach up with the left hand. So we're really thinking about opening that left side rib cage. And then landing, left foot on the ground, knee up. We're going to take right leg long. And we're just going to do a little bit of inner thigh work. So starting to bring your weight forward, lift and hover the right leg. Hold here. Activate that foot. Watch for your compensation patterns, so look in on that lower back. See if you can just use the inner thigh on the right leg. And then little pulses. Let that go. Bring it on down to your right side. Bring both knees together, both ankles together, both hips together. Maybe a block underneath your head or just curl up on your arm. We're going to do clamshell lifts with the right knee. So lifting the knee and then bringing it back nice and slow. So trying to find outside left hip. Make this movement as slow as you can, finding that mind-body connection and trying not to use the lower back for this movement. Take the right leg long, flex the foot, and trying not to compromise the space between the rib cage and the hip. Moving from the hip down, lift the leg and lower. Lift and lower. Bring the knee back in on top of the right, press into the hand, and come back to an easy seat. Switch sides. Left hand down. Bring right leg long. Reach right arm up overhead and think about moving around until you feel nice and long on the right side body. Now bring the right foot down onto the ground, knee up. Slide the left long and adjust so that you can lift left leg. Lift and hover. And then little pulses. And then bring that down, bring the right knee on top of the left, come on down to your left side. Clamshell lifts, so ankles stay together, hips remain together, lifting right knee up and down. Trying to find outside hip, whole outside of the right leg. Take the right leg long and then trying to lift from the hip down, not compromising this waist space. Lift and lower. And then bring the knee back on top of the left. Roll on over to the back. Almost done. So taking a little side to side with the knees, really checking in on the hips, having an experience, feeling the hips, noticing how the hips and the legs feel from the start of class. Bring the knees in. Give yourself a little hug. And we did a lot of hip work. And I promised Kaylee if we did hip work, she was allowed to do tantrum pose. So take your feet up to the ceiling and your arms up. And you're going to think about a 2-year-old loosening and shaking and letting go, having a tantrum. Really shake the arms and legs. Let go. See if you can release some energy. Let it go. Shake it up. Reset. And then let your feet land. Let your arms land. Feel your body on the ground. We did a lot of hip work, so we're going to place the feet on the ground. And we're just going to lift the hips a teeny bit, just about a piece of paper sliding underneath, and then drop them. Lift and drop. So trying to get those little shakes and vibrations in the hips. So we turn on all the muscles and strengthen all the muscles so that we know what gripping and tightness and strengthened muscles feels like, so that when we come to our resting poses, we can try to find the opposite, softness. So letting our hips soften. Maybe taking a left to right shuffle. See if you can press the weight left and right into your feet a little more. taking it left and right and shuffling the hips on the ground.
I can't do that. That still doesn't work.
Little shuffle. And then bring the soles of the feet back together and allow the knees to soften open. Notice what happens. Maybe you feel a little less gripping than when we tried this earlier on in class. Adjust the feet. So maybe they need to be further away. Maybe they need to be closer to the glutes for this to be just right in your body. Notice. So notice this space, our grounding space, our base, the space of our hips, our feet touching. Feel this space. Notice any gripping in the lower back, in the shoulders, in the neck, and in the face. And if you wish to take your resting pose in this position, I'm going to show you how to set up with Kaylee. Otherwise, begin to make your way into whatever resting pose you wish to take. So, Kaylee's knees are pretty much on the ground. She can find the ground pretty easily. However, a resting pose is not a stretching pose. Take that out of the equation. We're no longer stretching, we're resting. We're looking to release tension. That's the whole point of where we're going in all of our classes. Get to the point where we can soften and release as much tension as possible. So for Kaylee, I'm gonna put a little holster, little pillow underneath her so that she can still be open in the hips, but her body knows where the ground is. It has support. She feels open in the hips, but she's not stretching. She's not into any point of stretch. She's just open and releasing and relaxing across this space. So, if you're not doing hips open, you're just going to imagine the channel of energy in whatever pose that you're in. If you were doing the hips open pose, we're going to do a meditation on moving energy around our base. So starting to feel our hips on the ground. Perhaps even taking a moment to say to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. Beginning to soften and loosen and let the ground support you and carry you. Starting to feel your hips supported on the ground. And then you can connect this to your breath as long as it doesn't force a strong force of breath. If you can just place your focus on your breath without forcing your breath. And we're going to imagine we're going to breathe in through the left leg. Breathe energy in through the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg. So breathing in fresh through the left leg, across the hips, and sweep away with the exhale. Things no longer needed. Tension down the right leg. So this circle across the legs. Drawing in fresh energy, drawing in what we need, drawing in fresh. All the way up the left leg, across the hips, and then sweeping away the things no longer needed down the right leg. And whatever helps you with this visual. You can give it a color, you can give it a temperature, you can give it some visual like an ocean moving, river moving. Whatever helps you connect with imagining this energy channel. And imagine this energy channel is entirely free of misaligned bones or tension or holding patterns. You're just drawing in fresh and sweeping away things no longer needed. And then gently see if you can switch the channel of your energy. This time drawing in fresh through the right leg, cross the hips, and then sweeping away things no longer needed down the left leg. And then imagining landing right in your base, your hip space, feeling very strong and refreshed in this space. Allowing the ground to support this space. Letting your entire base, your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, take a break. Be supported. Be refreshed. Let go of all that they are holding. I picked a reading from the Radiant Sutra today. It's one of my favorites. On talk of negative and positive, on talk of severing ourselves when we talk of negative and positive is strong for me. I believe very strongly about this, that we all have all parts of ourselves, and severing ourselves as negative and positive can be very damaging. So I love this reading. All this talk of purity and impurity, these are just opinions. Beyond them are the miraculous energies of creation. Rays of light from 1,000,000,000 suns illuminate the altar of your sky. Rolling blue-green oceans sanctify the air you breathe. In this moment, you are inhaling their blessing. Who are you to call any of this pure or impure? Find the center around which everything revolves. Stand here and be flooded with joy. If you are in a wonderful space and you wish to take more time, please take the time that your body needs. Rest and relax in whatever time that you have. If you only have 60 minutes, we're coming up on 60 minutes. So begin to bring a little awareness back to the body, a little wiggle of the fingers and the toes. And then slowly bringing your hands to your legs and just bringing some circles onto your legs. Warming up your legs, bringing some sensation back to your legs. And then bringing your knees in with your hands, gently pulling your knees into center and rolling over to a side in a fetal position. Curling up in a little ball. And connecting with the concept of standing in the center of it all, in your center. The teachings of yoga teach us that the center that we have within us is made of the same stuff. We all have that little spark of us that is the same stuff as the stuff in the universe, the stuff of bliss. And we all have it. When we say namaste, we're saying the light in me sees and honors the light in you. So we all have that little spark, that center. Connect with standing in that center and letting go of the concept of pure and impure. Maybe there's something in your life you've been judging harshly, getting easily frustrated with. Maybe you can imagine letting go of that pure or impure judgment. Maybe it's something about yourself that you're judging too harshly. Stand in the center. Stand in that spark. The bliss center. And then when you rise up to a seated position, bring your hands to prayer at heart space. Perhaps feel a little more centered, a little easier to connect into the center space. Connect with this pose. Connect with bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our hearts, as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. May we all get to know our internal bliss layer so that we may more easily recognize the bliss in others. Peel beneath the layers. Peel beneath the labels. Peel beneath the judgments. The light in me sees and honors the light in all of you. Thank you for joining us.